Greetings, everyone. I'm TC Kirkham, TKR Video Central and the Kirkham Report, and TKR Studios as well as TKR Chart Zone. Welcome to TC's Vinyl Archive, the complete albums collection. This is episode 3, actually second show we're doing vinyl on. And we left off last week on the last show with the John Denver stuff. Right now we're going through the male vocalist or male artists albums, A to Z. And today we'll start with the later D's and go through the early H's on this first segment. I did notice I tended to bloviate a little bit on the last show, so hopefully I'll go through this a little bit less crazy. I might talk about a few of them really in depth or whatever, but I'm going to try and cut this down because that was almost an hour and it shouldn't have taken that long. So let's get started with the next set of albums in my collection from male artists. This is Diodato and Motion from 1984, I believe. Contains a great song called Fire in the SOS Fire in the Sky, and it also includes a few other things. Long stuff. I need to put some of this on the disco Saturday night disco party. Next up, Dennis DeYoung and Back to the World. This was his second solo album after the preliminary breakup of Styx. This album is absolutely terrific, and it didn't get the attention it deserved. It includes This Is the Time and Unanswered Prayers, neither one of which did all that well. I don't know why. I thought it was a really terrific album. And I also have Dennis's first solo album, Desert Moon. Desert Moon was a big hit for him. But neither Dennis nor Tommy Shaw really clicked big as solo performers, and Tommy had better luck with Damn Yankees, and Dennis later on with the reconstituted Styx in the early 90s. But terrific stuff. Both albums are awesome. I got to make sure they stay in the right order, because that's always a pain. I picked this up from Record Crate a few years ago. This is Richard Fields and Mr. Looks So Good. He has his hit, If It Ain't One Thing, It's Another. Great early 80s R&B, Quiet Storm Soul, really terrific album. Do this way. This album deserved way better than it got. He had a couple of hits off of it, but ironically the title track was not a hit. This is Dino and 24/7. This album contains hit singles I Like It, Sunshine, and I think there was one other one. Maybe Summer Girl? I don't know. I loved the title track, 24/7. In fact, it was the #1 song of the year on the Kirkham Report that year, but it didn't do well on the pop chart, but it's terrific. Miami dance R&B stuff from the mid-80s. Jerry Doucette, under just Doucette. This is a cutout. I received it directly from the record label when I was a kid doing reviews. And The Deuce Is Loose. This actually had a top 40 hit called Nobody on it. It's great for what it is. If you know Jerry, you know he does great work, and his guitar is outstanding. Something I haven't listened to for quite a while. Jeffrey Downs and the Light Program. I can't remember. Oh, what's the title of this anyway? The New Dance Orchestra is the name of the band. I picked this up, I think, from Don and Mary in one of their auctions. I'm not sure. But it's Jeff Downs, and good stuff all the way around. I listened to it when I got it. It's pleasant for what it is, and if you like them, if you like him, you will like this album. This I bought simply because, again, actors who sing, but he's not really an actor. I listened to it once when I first got it a few years ago, and he actually is not a bad vocalist. He's not his father. Morton Downey Jr. sings, and I just lost the hype sticker on there that was promotional copy, not for sale. Released during the height of the Big Mouth television show. It's typical for what it is, and he wasn't half bad. Okay, I'll drop that inside. I hope it doesn't ruin anything. Brian Dunn, Loser on the Ropes. I believe I received this from Black Box. And I'll be honest, I don't remember it that well. I did listen to it when it came in, but I should listen to it a couple more times. I remember it being pretty pleasing. Walter Egan, Not Shy. This is also one of those cutouts I got in that really big sale that one year. Magnet and Steel, of course, is on this. That was his biggest hit. Um, but does have a lot of great stuff. And his version of Hot Summer Nights, which was a song that Knight would have a hit with in 1979 or 1980. It's a decent mid 78 rock album. Rick Ely. Rick Ely was an actor and a singer. He was best known in the late 60s. He did a show called The Young Rebels, I think it was. And he cut an album around that time. He did a lot of episodics too in the early 1970s. This is a gatefold. I bought this years ago in an auction. It's a really pleasant little album for a pop star and for an actor. Just your typical actor who sings album. The next group, one of the best albums of all time. No, excuse me. Sorry, that's the other one. This one is great too. I have this on CD as well. John Farnham and Age of Reason. John was a lead singer for the Little River Band during its latter days, and especially when it was known as LRB. Trying to remember if there were any hits off this. I loved Farnham. He was terrific. He never found the stardom in the States that he found in Europe and Australia. RCA was the release. His first solo album in years was this one, Whispering Jack. This is the one that contained the international smash You're the Voice, which was a hit everywhere except the US. I've never figured that out. This whole album is one of my favorite albums of the late 80s and would probably rank in my top 100 albums of all time. I picked this up from Adam at Record Crate. I bought a lot of stuff from him in the early 2000s. Love this guy, and this album is phenomenally good. Jose Feliciano and Feliciano with Light My Fire as the single. He does a lot of good stuff on here, California Dreamin'. I love his cover of Always Something There to Remind Me. Really great guitar. R&B lit with a Latin tinge. Really terrific. From 1979 or 1980, Dan Fogelberg and Phoenix. This is the album with Longer and Heart Hotels on it. I got this, I think, from Don and Mary in one of their auctions. If you like Dan Fogelberg, it's typical Dan Fogelberg. Also a great album that this is another guy that never really got his due. This album was the one I hadn't heard anything on when I picked it up, and I really ended up liking it a lot. He was compared a lot to Bruce Springsteen, but never got to that level. Steve Forbert and Little Stevie Orbit. This is from 1980 on Naporia Records, and it's really terrific. I like it a lot. But I actually like the later album better. This is simply Steve Forbert. This contains his MTV hit Ya Ya on it. Love this album. Really good. I don't really think of him. I think of his. Everybody compares him to Springsteen. I would compare him more to like Johnny Lang. He has a lot of blues rock in this. Always loved his stuff. Peter Frampton, The Art of Control. This was a cutout purchase, as you can see. It's good Frampton. It was not a big hit for him. This was early 80s, I believe, 81, I think. Good stuff. It's typical Frampton. Legendary Frampton. Frampton Comes Alive. This is my favorite live album of all time. Now, you guys are thinking, wow, you're into Frampton. That's crazy. I love Peter Frampton's Frampton Comes Alive. I wore out an 8-track of it. I have it on CD. I bought it on vinyl, probably again from Record Crate at some point. All of his big hits from here. There you go. And his follow-up studio album, I'm in You, which I accidentally purchased twice. Again, used copies. I never had the full album until recently, but well, actually, no, I did, didn't I? This one of these is from, I want to say one of these I've had for years, and the other one I picked up without realizing I already had it. So, but again, great album. This album includes his version of Signed, Sealed, Delivered, and also his title track, I'm in You, which are both really good songs. This one is in way better shape than this one because it's newer. And finally, if you're a jazz pop guy or person, you'll know this person. I love his music, and I should probably get more of his stuff. This is the only thing I have, I believe. Is this in? Yeah, the only thing I have. This is Michael Franks and Skin Dive. This has his only minor hit on the radio, Your Secret's Safe With Me, which was a hit on the AC chart in the mid-'80s, but the whole album is phenomenally good, and it's like the Bobby Caldwell. I love this. I played it constantly in the mid-'80s. Michael Frank and Skin Dive, sorry. This is one I picked up from Black Box. Introducing Aaron Frazier, Easy Eye Sound. I don't think I've listened to this. I thought I had listened to most of this, but I don't remember this. I do remember getting it from Black Box, but I don't. If I did listen to it, it didn't make much of an impression on me, which is not a good idea. So, I'll try reporting back on that eventually. This, one of my favorite artists in the world right now, and I wish the vinyl community would embrace him because he's just an amazing artist. This is Sawyer Fredericks and his second album, A Good Storm. This has Lovers Still Alone on it, Take It All. Oh, this is his first album, sorry. Take It All, Lovers Still Alone. This is his album that came out on Republic after he was the youngest at the time winner of The Voice at age 16. Amazing songwriter, very Americana folk style. I love this guy. This is the other vinyl I have by him, Hide Your Ghost. This is a gatefold 2-record set, and my favorite album by him. Gasoline is my favorite song by him, but he's got a lot of good stuff on this album too. I can push him till the cows come home. I love Sawyer Fredericks. I think he deserves better than he gets from most people, simply because he's a Voice winner. It's just not fair. One of these days I will get to see him live. I have everything else on CD. The second of the Kiss solo albums, this is Ace Frehley. Ace, of course, had a big hit with New York Groove. He was the only solo, it was the only big hit to come off one of his solo albums. We lost Ace late last year. This is a great album. All of the Kiss solo albums are pretty good, but this one is especially good, and I wish it had. I wish that he'd done a little bit better when he left Kiss. Frehley's Comet didn't do terrible, but it wasn't as good as it could have been. I never get tired of singing the praises of this gentleman, Daddy Frere, and I made an album from 2000. This is not. This is open. This is open. I was gonna say I usually listen to the digital version, but this has everything post Eurovision on it. Thank You is on here. Shut Up was a hit. Sunshine was a hit. Moves to Make was a hit on the internet. He has yet to have an American chart hit, and yet he's sold out 3 tours and is about to come on tour again. Maybe I'll get to catch him this time. This is the 10-inch EP, simply called Welcome. This is the one that has the 2 hits from Eurovision, Think About Things and 10 Years. Also has his hit with Asdiz, I think she says, Feel the Love. I love Daddy. He's one of the most creative performers on the planet right now, and really makes those keyboards sing. If you're not a fan, you should be. Dean Friedman. This is from way back. I picked this up from Adam at Record Crate. This is the album that had his only top 40 pop hit, Ariel, on it. This is the long version. The single version is cut by almost 2 minutes. Dean writes as another one of those mid-70s guys who wrote interesting lyrics, sometimes risque lyrics. See, I'm in love with the McDonald's girl. But really terrific stuff, and I love his voice too. This is another one of his albums, Well, Said the Rocking Chair, from 1978, I believe. Yep. This is a promo. No hits off this, but it has a lot of great music. Again, singer-songwriter, fun, kind of off-kilter lyrics. Dean Friedman. Raymond Froggatt. I don't know where he came from as far as nationality. This was a rarity. This is also a promo, as you can see from the stamp on the back. This was on Jet Records, and it's a country album. I didn't know Jet did country. Jet is most associated with Electric Light Orchestra. This album is not half bad. If you like mid-70s country, I think it came out in 78. But I'm not familiar with anything else he did, so if anybody knows, let me know. This is one of those I got in that sale from one of the Vinyl Community members. It is Ryan Garber and Sweet Hassle. I'm trying to remember. I listened to it once when I got it. I remember thinking it was okay. I'm not sure what's on it. It doesn't give us song titles or anything, and it's been 4 years, so I don't remember. And I picked this up from Record Crate also. Let's Get It On. Marvin Gaye. Classic album, all classic songs. This man could do no wrong. Okay. Now we get into another artist I have all the albums by that most of the vinyl community are like, why, TC, why? Because I grew up in the 70s. The dude was a legitimate teen idol. He wasn't a bad singer. He was way better than Scott Baio. But this is the worst of the 5 albums that Leif Garrett put out. This is Can't Explain from 1980. He did make an attempt to do some more rock stuff on this album. There's a cover of JoJo Gunn's Run, 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 which was actually a #1 Kirkham Report hit. He does bits and pieces on here, Stuck in the Middle with You. And the original hit was You Had to Go, A Change on Me. And the first song he co-wrote, Love So Cruel. Not the best album of his. Next up from Leif, 1978's Feel the Need. This is a cutout I got later because it's in better shape than the original one I have here. And it also still has the pictures that come with it. This album was his biggest. It went gold. Both his first and second album went gold. And produced his biggest hit, Top 10, I Was Made for Dancing, and the album track, When I Think of You, of which the single version is on a different album. But this is my favorite album that he does, and I love his cover of Fun, Fun, Fun. I love his cover of Sheila by Bobby Rowe. Tommy Rowe, excuse me. The dance version of Feel the Need is better. This is the album version. They remixed it entirely. In fact, re-recorded it entirely for the 12-inch single, and it's way better. This is his self-titled debut album from 1977 when he was 16 years old. This contains top 20 hits Surfin' USA and Run Around Sue, and bottom of the top 100 releases. Also covers of The Wanderer and Put Your Head on My Shoulder. Leif is one of those artists that has a lot of non-album B-sides too, so if you have the singles, you have extra stuff. This is actually really, really not bad. And I played it to death when I was a kid. We just featured this on Obscuria this last week. This was his final album for Scotti Brothers, My Movie of You, from early 1982. He started doing a little bit more mature rock. It sounded better. It's actually a really good album, the best of them, I think. Quality-wise, Runaway Rita and Momo Way came from this album, and it's definitely a change of pace from the first 4, and was well worth listening to. Very much an early indie rock style album. And though the picture sucks, this album has a lot of great music on it. Same Goes for You from late 1979. He didn't have a big hit off of it. I Was Looking for Someone to Love was a #1 Kirkham Report hit. Memorize Your Number did hit the Hot 100 in the lower reaches. It has the single version of When I Think of You and Give In, which is the song he performed on Chips, which was a #1 Kirkham Report hit. It also features a god-awful disco version of Singing in the Rain. Thank you so much. Who produced this? Michael Lloyd. Thank you so much, Michael Lloyd. You might remember this name from one big hit the dude had. This is David Geddes and Run Joey Run, which Kim thinks is one of the sickest songs ever recorded. She's not wrong. This is David, What Do You Look Like Back Then. That is the only single off this album. His follow-up single, The Last Game of the Season, aka Blind Man in the Bleachers, was not included on this. It's actually a really good mid-70s pop album. Andy Gibb, After Dark. This was his third and final new album before the Greatest Hits came out, and then he stopped recording for the longest time, and unfortunately he passed away while he was working on his comeback album. But great album. It includes After Dark, Desire, and I Can't Help It, which he is a duet with Olivia Newton-John. Great album. I like Andy. He was fantastic. Shadow Dancing from 1978. This album skips terribly. All of them did. Everybody who had a copy of this had skipped a lot because RSO made way too many at the same time they were working on the Sgt. Pepper soundtrack. This included Shadow Dancing, An Everlasting Love, and Our Love Won't Go Away, and it was a #1 album as well. Like this a lot. I just got it a couple years ago. This is Nick Gilder, and City Lights has his hits Hot Child in the City and Here Come the Nights. Really good album. I think he deserved better than that, more than he got. He had an earlier hit with his band Sweeney Todd in his native Canada. Terrific album, and very early new wave stuff. One of the best albums in my collection of the last decade, and you guys are not going to know him, but you should. This is Jean's Tears and The Game. This album, which comes with a booklet and a bunch of other stuff, is in a box set, but it is a single album. Jean came close to winning Eurovision in 2021 with Tour Univers. Before that, the year before the cancelled contest, he was a favorite with another song. He records in English, Spanish, and Italian on this album. English, French, and Italian on this album, and it is all fantastic. I compare him to Josh Groban. That's the kind of voice he has. He deserves to be a worldwide superstar. Please check his stuff out. Jim Glazer and Past the Point of No Return. I don't even know why I bought this album. I got this from Record Crate. I have one of his singles, Let Me Down Easy, and I decided to grab the album and look at that. It's country pop. It's actually not bad, but it didn't have the single on it, and a lot of the songs are your typical mid-'80s country pop songs. The Man Who Invented Lonely Boy Syndrome. This is Andrew Gold. What's wrong with this picture? It has Lonely Boy on it. Later hits came from later albums. Great songwriter, really terrific storyteller. Lonely Boy was a big hit, of course, for him. But boy, you can really pick out those kind of kids now, can't you? Mid-1977, I believe. Really good album. This guy did not get the fame and fortune he deserved in the States. I think he had a little bit more success in England because he was previously known from a band over there. I'm trying to see if there's anything but the single that I can remember off here. I don't remember him having more than one hit with this. This is Ian Gum and Gum with the Wind. It included Hold On, which was a hit in 1979. The album is excellent. I love this album, and it's really fantastic. Lou Gramm, Ready or Not. I think this is the first of his 2 big solo albums. Let's see what's on it. Yes. Midnight Blue is on this album. Lou, of course, was the lead singer for Foreigner for many, many years and cut a couple of solo albums in the late 80s. This album, fantastic. I'm a huge Foreigner fan, too, as you'll see when we get to the groups. I have the other album on CD. Doing some cleanup here, sorry. This came from Black Box. This came from Black Box. I know I played this. It's not open. I must have went and listened to it on Spotify. Al Green, Call Me. It's Al Green. I don't need to say anything else. This guy is awesome. And this one is open, and I did listen to it. In fact, I've listened to it more than once. Al Green, and I'm Still in Love with You. Al is one of my favorite vocalists from the early 70s. I remember being a little kid just thinking, my God, this guy has a voice. This one is fantastic, and of course has his standard versions of several other songs on here. Really good stuff. Jack Green, Reverse Logic. This album should have been a lot bigger hit. I actually had the cassette of this from the cutout bin. I picked this up, I think, from Don. I think Don had it. And he deserved better than he got. And I think this is, maybe actually, no, this is the second album. The first one I have on tape. This is the second album. He was a great artist, and I really think he deserved better than he got. He was on RCA in the early 80s. Way better than what he got from the public, at least. I don't know why I suddenly got all tongue-tied right there. This poor guy got stuck in the backlash of the New Kids, Debbie Gibson backlash in the late 1980s. Came out in 1990, a little bit too late to really click. This is Scott Grimes, his debut album. Talked about this on the last show. Richard Carpenter produced this. Included Show Me the Way to Your Heart, which was an amazing #1 song on the Kirkham Report. All of his singles off here hit the Kirkham Report. Had a great version of You're the Voice and Pressure Down, both songs from John Farnham's 1986 album, Pressure Down. Excellent album. Scott really has an excellent voice. Josh Groban's 2019 or 2020 release, Bridges. Josh Groban is another one of those acts that I love. This has his incredible cover of Bridge Over Troubled Water, and the man doesn't do anything bad. I have 3 of his other CDs also. 2 albums by this gentleman, both of which I got in that 10-cent cutout bin. Henry Gross released. This features his monster hit Shannon from 1976. And his follow-up album, Show Me to the Stage, which features a minor hit called What a Sound. They're both his soft yacht rock style music. Excellent albums, both of them. This gentleman we lost in a house fire. He was only 50-some years old in the early 2000s. This is his only major label album from 1982. Greg Guidry and Over the Line. Love this album. Greg had a hit with a song off here called Going Down. He also wrote Climax Blues Band's hit, Gotta Have More Love, which was on this also. This whole album is fantastic. I was very sad when Columbia dumped him because it was just a great album. I do not know how to pronounce this man's name. I listened to it once when I got it from Adam. It's pretty good. It's eclectic for sure. Isaac Guillory. The album is called, I think it's just called Side 1, but there's also Side 2. Lots of interesting stuff on here. I remember thinking it was pretty okay. Two albums. 2 or 3? 2 albums by the legendary Arlo Guthrie. This Record Bar, Christ Code D. This one is from 71 or 72, I think. No big hits on here, but again, he's a singer-songwriter. Love his stuff. Strangely enough, I don't have Alice's Restaurant. The other one I bought, both of these from Record Crate, is Washington County, which I believe was the follow-up to Alice's Restaurant. Neither of these have any big hits on them, but they're both excellent. I love Arlo Guthrie. He wrote great music and still does. And Is he? Yeah, but he's still with us, isn't he? Fantastic stuff. I honestly don't remember. And let me grab the other one I have by this gentleman so I can do them both together. Glenn Hansard, he was a member of the Commitments back in 80s, the band that became the Commitments. Now he is best known for the film Once and doing music from other movies. We have seen Glenn along with Marketa Arklova, his partner in the Swell season, 4 times live. They are amazing. Glenn is amazing. He is perhaps the current best Harry Chapin style songwriter out there, and his voice is haunting. His voice is so filled with emotion. When he's feeling pain, you feel the pain. When he feels happiness, you feel happiness. This is, I can't even see the title. Oh, I can't read that. It's blue on blue. Didn't He Ramble? Fantastic album. As is this one. This is 2022, I believe. This Wild Willing double record set. I mean, this dude is just fabulous all the way around. Love Glenn Hansard. And the last batch from this show. Picked this up from Adam. Listened to it once. It's not my cup of tea. Cole Hansen. This is well, it's very much not appropriate for the show. Swedish rock, I guess it would be put as. I mean, it's not terrible, but I haven't listened to it since then. Al Harrington, I Love This Land. Appears to be autographed. I can't tell if that's authentic, of course. I also picked this up from, I believe, Dawn. Al Harrington was on Hawaii Five-0 for a number of years as Ben. And he actually is a wonderful vocalist. He was a singer, very popular singer in Hawaii for many years. Terrific, terrific stuff for that kind of music, let me say that. Same with this. I won't play this when Kim's around because I will be stoned. Richard Harris and A Tramp Shining. This is, of course, the album with MacArthur Park on it. I'm sorry. I love this. I love MacArthur Park. I love Donna Summer's version better, but I love Richard Harris's. They used to play it all the time on KHQ radio in Spokane as an oldie. He is actually better than people give him credit for. Star Search winner Sam Harris, now Broadway star. So much so that they made a documentary about him, Ham, a few years ago. Sam Harris, this is his debut album on Motown, about a year after he won, well, it wasn't quite a year after he won Star Search. Sugar Don't Bite was the only tough word he had. It's on this album, and so is his incredible cover of Over the Rainbow. If you have not heard it, you should. Hearts on Fire, I think, was the other single. Did well on the dance chart. This is the follow-up album. Sam I Am did not chart any singles, but I Do It All Again and Forever For You were pretty big hits throughout Europe. Sam, of course, continues to be one of the top stars on Broadway, doing various productions over the years. George Harrison, 33 1/3. This is the album with Cracker Box Palace. I got this from a friend at one point. I think I paid $1 for it. It's your typical Beatles solo album. George was always, I thought, underrated as an artist. John and Paul got all the really big praise, and Ringo and George kind of got thrown on the side, but I always loved George, and this is a good album. From 1984, Dan Hartman, I Can Dream About You. This, of course, has the title track, which is originally from Streets of Fire, and another great song called We Are the Young. Dan, we lost him very young, too. He was only in his 40s in the early 90s. But he was also a classic disco artist, as you see from Dan Hartman. Instant Replay. This has all of the classic disco stuff. The first song he's best known for. I do not have the album with Vertigo, Light My Fire on it, but I do have the 12-inch single. on digital. So I use it a lot on Disco Party. Dan Hartman was just an amazing writer and vocalist. You're going to see this album twice on these shows because I'm not the only person that owns it. Kim also owns a copy of this. Me, it was my actors who sang. Her, she really thought the world of this gentleman when he was on Knight Rider. David Hasselhoff and Night Rocker. This album is terrible. I gotta be honest, it is terrible. David is capable of way better than he does on this album. He is not a bad singer at all. I do like his cover of Do You Want Me and his duet with his then wife, Catherine Hicklin, which was a cover of the classic, I don't remember who had the original version in the 60s. I think it was Nancy Sinatra and Lee Hazelwood, Let It Be Me. Great stuff. Those two songs are about the only thing worth listening to on this album. And finally, for this album, Colin Hay and Now and Evermore. This features some of the songs he's recorded on various solo albums over the years, but I do not consider it a greatest hits album because it's not designated as such. Colin Hay, of course, was the lead singer of Men at Work, the main songwriter. I got this from Black Box. I had a few of his singles and a CD earlier. Love this man. He writes great music. So that means coming up, we're going to start in the next level of H's. I'm not sure where it's going to end. I'll have to look, as I did last time. But I hope you enjoyed my going through those and hope you like most of the music. I really sincerely doubt you like the Hasselhoff or the Leif Garrett. I doubt you've ever heard the Toll Hansen. But in any case, I did trim 15 minutes off this. That's good. I've got a better rapport going. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Please support TKR Studios by purchasing from our swag shop, joining our Patreon or our Ko-Fi, or hooking up on our GoFundMe. We are having a lot of financial difficulties right now and really could use your help. We appreciate you watching. Be sure to share this and please comment. I'm dying to know what everybody thinks of these albums. Until the next episode, not sure if I'm going to do these twice a week or just once a week right now. I'm thinking about a second one later. This week. We'll see. I'm TC Kirkham, TKR Studios, TKR Video Central, the Kirkham Report, and TKR Chart Zone. I'm going to get it sooner or later. Hoping you have a wonderful Easter weekend, and I will see you on the interwebs. Ciao, baby.